Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a balmy, low-felt afternoon. 32 degrees Celsius, 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is Safari Live. Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
My name is James Henry, and you are most welcome on this afternoon's, well, it's the 1st of 2017, isn't it? What's that stick, Xongile? The first sunset safari of 2017. And we'd love to hear from you during the course of the afternoon. Hashtag Safari Live, questions at WildEarthTV. I hope that you've all had a good new year, wherever you happen to be in the world, from Fiji all the way to Hawaii. Different time zones, of course, different days half the time. Now, out on drive, we've got Jamie Patterson. She's driving, and Taylor is also driving. And we also have the very special drone commander, Connor Teagues. Right, we're in the air. Couldn't tell there for a second. And you can see this verdant landscape that is quarantine clearings. You can see Xongile and I perhaps walking. And we're going to go down towards the southeast and see if we can't relocate Karula and either one or both of her two babies. They were heading towards a duiker kill sometime during the course of this morning. I've just tripped over a log and nearly killed myself. Never mind, I hope you didn't see that from the drone. Anyway, that's what's going on here. I'm not sure exactly where Jamie's going. I know she's going to Chitwa, and I think that Taylor is heading off towards the east. Right, Connor is now going to fly over us with that marvellous drone, and you can see, especially from this angle, the rather remarkable way that Xongile is walking. You see that? Hello! It's so cool. Right, so our plan is to head off sort of in that direction there, hopefully finding a leopard in a tree. We had, Xongile and I both, the most marvellous experience with Xongile a little while back when she came and climbed into a tree while we were on foot with her, and it was very special. I'd like a repeat of that, perhaps with Hosana this time, and we'll see if we can't achieve that during the course of the afternoon. In the meantime, Jamie Patterson, I think, is already with the leopard.
And what a spectacular start to this afternoon's sunset safari, and with the Queen of Djuma, Karula herself, lavishing attention on her son Hosana. I don't want to tear my eyes away. Very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Jamie. This afternoon, Dave is on camera with me for the first time in forever, Dave. And we've got the most gorgeous sighting in front of us. Now, if you have just joined us for the first time, this is a live safari. So what you're seeing is happening right here and right now on Nkuhuma private cameras. Look at the expression on his face. That is too gorgeous for words. He couldn't look happier if he tried. This is so beautiful. Affection between Mum and her almost 1-year-old cub. Almost 11 months old, actually, tomorrow. It's their birthday tomorrow. Can't tell if they're growling or purring at each other. Oh, clonk. Mum thoroughly unimpressed. All right, yes, I'll clean your bottom for you. Oh, it's exhausting work being a single mom. Just got to do everything for your little cubs. Hey, Mom, watch the sensitive bits. So gorgeous. And a very happy new year, actually, to all of you. I've just realized, sorry, I'd already forgotten that it was 2017, but happy new year. I'm so glad that we could bring in the new year with such a special sighting between mom and son. And like all moms with teenage boys, sometimes he gets a little bit much for Karula's patience and temper. She gives him a little bit of a growl. I would also if he whacked me in the face repeatedly. Oh, we were so lucky, you know, because James had called us in. James is one of the trackers out here. James had called us into a sighting with Xongile. And we were actually on our way there, so she's not far away from where we are at all. But then we just happened upon Karula wandering into the road, calling repeatedly for her cubs. And then Hosana popped out. What are you grabbing a thorn tree for, you silly goose? Naughty boy. Walk into your mom and then expect her not to bite you. Look at this, he's coming right up to the vehicle. You duck out of the way. Hello, mister. Hello, mister. You are so beautiful. Yes, you are. Karula, you do produce some very lovely sons. You really, really do. Yes, I'm talking about you, gorgeous. You're going to be such a handsome boy when you're older. So this is Hosana, 11 months old tomorrow. We were fortunate enough to know the exact birth date of Karula's two cubs, Hosana and Xongile, because Brent actually saw them when they were just a few hours old. And just to update you in terms of Karula and her cubs, it looks as though potentially Shadow might be denning next to Red Dam. So Karula's adult daughter Shadow, it looks as though she might be going to have cubs somewhere around Red Dam. So that is more good news to bring in 2017. New Year's babies, Dave. Oh yes, so wonderful. So she's not snarling at us, just by the way, for our new viewers. She's just snarling at her son, preemptively at times, when he gets a bit too close and shows signs of looking as though he might actually bonk her in the face again. I can't believe how big he is. Ah, here comes Mom as well. She's snarling at him. Just try and stay ducked out of the way. This is so cool. Oh, hi, Karula. Okay. Fair enough, I suppose this is the best patch of shade. You did come to us, though, just a reminder. This is cool, hey Dave? It's so awesome. I'll just remember, because this is a live safari, it means that you can send through your questions, and you can do that on using the hashtag on Safari Live on Twitter. You'll notice that I'm speaking very, very softly, and that's because Karula is now basically on top of us, and she's quite... She doesn't like loud noises. She doesn't like loud talking. That's one thing we've learnt about her, which is fair enough. It is her home and it is her space. Goodness gracious, leopards, would you like to climb into... Don't snarl at me. I'm not doing anything. You came to me, not the other way around, my girl. I think she's just snarling at her cub again, preemptively. How fortunate are we that these leopards are as comfortable as they are in our presence. She's snarling at him, not at us. Goodness gracious. This is about as close as I think I've ever been to Karula for such an extended period of time. What a fantastic start. I'm trying to duck out of your way, but this is so, so cool. Isn't that awesome? Karula right here. Hello, girl. Every time I glance up over my dashboard, I make eye contact with her. It's awesome. And her little baby, who's now gone to sleep right next to us. And that is how fortunate we are. For our new viewers, these are completely 100% wild leopards. Yes, she looked up as I said that. So they are 100% wild, but they are, however, very comfortable with the presence of the vehicle. So through years and years of ethical guiding, Karula's seen safari jeeps since she was very young. They've come to accept that we're not a threat in any way. While our leopard pants away in the afternoon heat, and it is hot this afternoon, let's head over to Taylor to find out what her plans are for the afternoon.
Good afternoon and of course welcome. It is beautiful out here, another sunny day in South Africa. Now we are driving around on Arathusa hoping to follow up on the Anderson male leopard. My name is Taylor and on camera with me this afternoon, I don't know why I have my sunglasses on, I'm so sorry, is VM. I was concentrating on trying to go down to the most southwestern corner of Arathusa as quick as possible so that I can try and find the Anderson male leopard, who I have yet to see yet. There you go, I can see better now. I'll do a little bit of squinting till my eyes adjust. So I hope you're all excited. But Wrexham actually managed to track him down, so it's quite exciting. But we've just got to use a little bit of the GPS to get down there. Right, let's go this road. Right, now we're on Second Windmill Road, which is apparently where this leopard is. VM open now, and I know VM's definitely going to have his eyes open because there's apparently some vehicle tracks that go off-road to the east, so sort of that way, and those are the tracks that we need to follow in. And we'll just take it easy. And there's also lots of hyena tracks going up and down this road from very early this morning. But you know, that's not unusual. There seems to be lots and lots of hyena activity on Arathusa all the time. VM, you have to shout if you see any vehicle tracks, just in case I miss them. Now remember, we are in a live safari at the moment, and it's wonderful to have you all here. So remember, you can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and you can send us through some questions or comments or screenshots that you've taken. We love to see those. If you don't have a Twitter account, don't worry. You can still chat us. You can send your questions through to questions@WildEarthTV. But we'll just keep carrying along, going very slowly along this road, and hopefully we get lucky. But apparently it was, like I said, the Anderson male, and he was on a common Dacre kill. Now for a leopard of his size, that's not really a big meal, that's sort of a snack. So he could have even finished it by now. And I just had to keep doing communication tests with Rebecca just to see if she can still hear me, because I don't know if she can still hear me, or if I can't hear her. Now I don't know if anybody can hear me. I don't even know if we're on air still, have you? We'll just keep chatting away though, and keep looking for, of course, this animal pathway. No, but it doesn't sound like we're trying to chat to Rebecca, but I can't really hear her. 1 out of 5. Radio, we're having a little bit of comms trouble just down here in Arathusa, so I'm going to send you across to James until I can re-establish a connection.
And what we have here, everybody, is a grasshopper, which was, I think, quite skillfully caught by my good self. Good afternoon. We're just waving at Aubrey there, not at this grasshopper's family. What's interesting, though, is that it has wings. Right? Now, most of the grasshoppers that we found up to this point have been wingless, and that's not because they're a different species, it's because they've been young. So they're recently hatched, and when they're born they don't have wings. They're called hoppers. And if you haven't seen that new Planet Earth series yet with the locusts, the locust scene, I think it's episode 4 or so, it's astounding. But you see them hopping in a great swarm for a while, then they eat a bit and they shed their skins, they develop these wings, and they fly off. And that's when they swarm in flying. And so they're much more difficult to catch than they were 2 weeks ago. Most of the grasshopper species now have these wings, and so they fly. This particular one, well, it put a bit of nasty substance on me, and I think it's probably something of a defensive mechanism to try and sort of discourage me from eating it. I have no desire to eat it, especially as it is coloured orange and black, which inevitably means there's probably some kind of toxin. Genre, shall we see who can fly? I bet it can hop. Right, there it goes. Okay, let's go across to the air, and while we go across to the air with Connor Teagues, I will just remind you that tomorrow morning, well, no, tomorrow evening, would it be tomorrow evening? Yes, it would be tomorrow evening for you. In the United States, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we will be going live. Well, we always go live, of course, but this will be broadcast to Nat.Geo Wild. I will be in the tent. Steph will be walking across quarantine where you now are, and you'll see the tent shortly. Jamie will be on one vehicle, that'll be Wendy, and Brent Leo Smith will be on Rusty. So that's what's going to be happening tomorrow. And then after that, every week thereafter, same day, so Sunday night in the United States, it'll be on from 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so 10 o'clock tomorrow, and then for the 7 weeks after that, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and that's what's going to happen. If you're not in the United States, please fear not. You can continue watching on the internet for free. And you can also talk to us all the time, of course, on hashtag Safari Live. Don't bother to email us during the TV shows. You can only tweet us. Thomas, you say it looks a lot greener than before. Well, Thomas, I'm not sure when you last watched, but it is green. It's very green. And it's because we've had a lot of rain in the last week or so. Probably, I don't know, almost 100 millimeters, I imagine, which is almost 4 inches. And that will make, over the course of 2 sunny afternoons, which we've now had, in fact we've had 3 nice sunny afternoons, that will create a situation where we have a huge flush of flowers and grasses and all things verdant green. So absolutely, and if we look down here, for example, at this rather special white plant here, called Oldenlandia, they've come up in the last little while. The other thing that's come up a lot are the sedges. This is a sedge here that I'm looking at. And these sedges have come up in the last, 3 or 4 days. They were much smaller before, and now they've shot up under the action of the water. And of course, Thomas, the reason that happens is that there is water in the surface soil level. So for plants that have adventitious roots like grasses and sedges and these annual flowers that we have here, what happens is that when there is water in the surface level, it comes up. But of course, with a taproot system like a tree's got, what happens is that even if there's no rain, they can still find water low down in the subsurface, and so the trees can go green a long time before the grasses and the sedges and the annual flowers. Now, Lana, you're wondering how we identify the difference between trees. Well, Lana, when I came out here into the bush, I knew absolutely nothing about identifying trees. And how I suppose, much like for you, it all just looked rather the same to me. But the more time you spend in an area, the more obvious the differences between these things become. So, for example, let's look at the most common tree that we get here, or one of the most common trees, and that would be this one here. This is called the variable bush willow, or Combretum calinum, and we identify this one by the greyness of its bark. You can see it's got grey bark. We identify the Combretums by their leaves, and I mean, it looks like a pretty bog standard leaf, that one, doesn't it? But they all look the same, the Combretum leaves, it's just the size that varies. And we know that we have 5 or 6 different species of these Combretums. So that's the bark. And then, of course, the fruit is a different size and shape on each of the Combretum species. So that's this one. This is the Combretum calinum, or the variable bush willow. And then if we look across over there, we don't have to get too close to that tree to be able to identify. Sorry, Chandra is doing some acrobatics. That's a big marula tree over there. And it's just got such a distinctive shape. And Lana, if you spend time in an area like this, that eventually becomes very obvious. You just know by looking at it. Even at a sort of 800 yards, you could tell that was a marula tree. And you know what they're doing now, the marula trees, of course? They're starting to fruit. I found one earlier. I did eat it, and I've had a bad taste in my mouth ever since, but they have the most delicious fruit if they are ripe. So that's the way it is, and I'll find a few more trees, obvious ones, during the course of the walk, and I'll tell you a bit about them. Right, in the meantime, while we do that, let's head straight across to Jamie Patterson, who I think now has Tingana.
Oh, this year has not provided us with any yummy ripe marulas, but it has provided us with the most spectacular karula sighting. And how fantastic that is, this is happening right here and right now. And don't forget, if you do have any... Oh, sorry, this is definitely not Tingana. Apparently, James was a little bit confused there. He thought that Hosana was Tingana. The odd confusion when it comes to radio comms. There she goes. She's up there, goes little man. Wait, mommy, wait. He's going to ambush her. Let's see what he does. Sorry, this is not Tingana. This is, in fact, Karula and Hosana. No, you silly girl. Your daughter's that way. Other way. Just behind us. And growling once again. I cannot believe the dedication that Karula has had in terms of grooming Hosana this afternoon. Of course, Tax, you're more than welcome to make your way there on the road now. Sorry, just letting Taxon know that he can come and join us. For our new viewers, there are other lodges here that bring guests to share in these amazing experiences. Oh, goodness, I'm in high demand this afternoon. Sorry, everybody, hold on a moment. Go ahead, Taylor. Oh, hold on. Confusion with the conversation. Sorry, Orbs. The second one is in there somewhere. Hi, guys. Somewhere in here. Sorry, everybody. There's much conversation happening. It's a busy afternoon and an exciting afternoon. I was saying that I couldn't believe the dedication that Karula was showing in terms of grooming Hosana. Ooh, she's had it now. She is done with her teenage boy. I cannot believe the thickness of his neck. He's now basically Karula's size. His head's bigger than hers is. It's astounding. I can't believe this is the same little bundle of fluff that we saw all those months ago, looking utterly adorable. Oh. Taylor, I'm standing by. Go find your sister. Your mom doesn't want to play this afternoon. It's hot. AFM, I think I did. I think the sighting that you're looking for is along Second Windmill, close to, or maybe it's on First Windmill Saffron, or maybe it's Second Windmill Saffron Junction. And I'm sure it's somewhere on that western edge. Sorry, everybody. Copy, no problem. He might have crossed west. Sorry, I'm just helping Taylor out with a sighting that Rexon called in a little bit earlier. Copy that. Thanks, Rex. Taylor, if you copy, I don't know if you copied Rexon or not. Sorry, everybody. I'm just helping Taylor out with her game drive comms because she's quite far away from Djuma. So I'm acting as a relay because mine seem to be working better than hers. Now, as our leopards slowly... Don't go that way. Wait, come back. Don't go south. Please don't go south. While we watch our leopards slink away into the bushes, Paul, you wanted to know whether or not, or if I could describe the feeling about being so close. Is there any nervousness or a sense of heightened awareness? Sense of heightened awareness, absolutely. That you're very, very aware that you're close to a wild animal, but I don't feel any nervousness at all. There's complete and utter trust. I don't see any signs of aggression coming from Karula directed towards us. Of course, she's growling at little Mister over there, who's now on a tree. Hold on a second. Let's try and reposition so we can see slightly better. There's aggression towards her son, but not towards us in any way. Dave, did you feel nervous? No, not at all. No, I didn't feel nervous at all. heightened sense of awareness. You are so aware of how incredibly fortunate you are. You get this sort of, you know, that really happy bubble when you're really, really happy, that it feels like you've got something living inside your chest that's bigger than you are. That's what it feels like. You think, Dave? Yeah. Is that a good description? I think that works. It's like there's this swelling balloon of happiness. That's the only way that I can describe it. But you are very aware of the situation that you're in. And the wonderful thing is, without the door, and I love not having a door, is that you really get to see them properly. You know, you don't have to crane your head over and break the outline of the vehicle. You actually get to see them very clearly from your position. Portrait of mother and son. Mom's still a bit bigger, just a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm just going to shift out of the way for Orbs. Go ahead, Orbs. Is it that side? Okay. I'm going to follow Aubrey. I think Aubrey knows where to go. He says that she has a kill in that direction. So she didn't manage to collect Xongile, and we will go and have a look at Xongile a little bit later. And a very warm welcome to Andrea, who is a new viewer, and Andrea doesn't really fully understand how this whole system works. Andrea, welcome, it's lovely to have you. Welcome to your new safari addiction. Just by the by, this is going to be, I think you'll find that this is something that you will not be able to stop watching. Now, Andrea, you want to know if we feed the cats at all? We don't. These are 100% wild. They live in a massive areas, 4 million hectares, 8.5 million acres of completely protected wilderness. So we don't feed them, and we don't need to, because they hunt and live wild as they have always done. Let us try and see, and then I'll finish Andrea's question. There we go, there she is. Andrea, so Karula does all of the hunting at the moment. Her offspring, her 11-month-old cubs, are learning to hunt, and they have got slightly better at the whole process. Oh, sorry, Andreas. My apologies, Andreas. I didn't realize. Andreas, they are completely wild. So Karula does most of the hunting. Sometimes her babies do manage to catch things on their own. They are learning. In the next year or so, they're going to have to learn to fend for themselves completely. Andreas, it's lovely to have you. Please don't feel shy about asking questions. Some of our viewers have been watching for many years, but I think everybody knows that when you're new to this whole process, it might seem a little bit strange and a bit confusing, so please feel free. And Andreas and any new viewers, feel free to send through as many questions as you possibly can, and we'll try to answer as many as we possibly can. It's lovely to hear from you. Thank you for sending through your question, Andreas. Now, Karula's picked a spot, hasn't she, Dave? Quite the spot. Okay, let us see if maybe we can do something here. So apparently this was where she had a kill from this morning. Now, I heard that it was a baby daycare, so something quite small. Now, I know you missed the sunrise safari this morning. Brent was with Karula, just to update you on some of the things that you missed on our live, well, on our non-live drive. Can you see her there, Dave, or shall I go forward a little bit? So just to keep you updated on what you missed during our rehearsal, she apparently had killed a tiny daycare. No, gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? Such an iconic shot. Unfortunately, a small daycare doesn't really go much towards feeding 3 hungry leopards, and her cubs are nearly as big as she is, so they're keeping her very busy in terms of hunting. She's got to just keep moving, keep catching, keep killing, in order to keep them well fed. Luckily for them, their mom is a pro at this whole process. You can see she's moving through some very thick stuff. Hello, little one. Still stalking his mum. She's looking for it. I think she's lost it. I think she's not quite sure where it is. She's casting about, moving about this area. Now she's growling at him because he's bugging her, getting in the way, as cubs so often do. I'm so excited for the year ahead. I can't wait to watch how these cubs grow a little bit older and develop even more of a personality than they already have. I think we're going to have to do some serious shuffling here, Dave and myself, to try and get a view of Karula. So what we'll do while we do that is send you over to James, who is on foot.
Hello again, everybody. We're looking at a couple of flowers here, and what I'm doing is trying to see if I can't find an insect or two on them. And the flower we're looking at specifically is this annual herb called WildEarthTV. Now, WildEarthTV, it'll be the last flower that sort of makes it through to the beginning of winter, and they start off like this, and then they get a fairly nondescript orange and yellow flower, but it attracts all sorts of interesting crab, spiders and mantis species. And so I was rather hoping I'd be able to show you one here, but I have failed to find one at this stage. But I have found a rather interesting grass. Do you like it, Xongile? Xongile just went, oh, I don't know what that means. A very strange fellow. Anyway, all of those yellow bits there, that's the wind blowing, Xongile, it's not me shaking it. All of those bits of yellow there are the anthers where the pollen is, and that's been thrown to the wind. Let me hold it closer to the top and then it won't shake quite so much. There we are. And I'm going to rotate it slowly, just to see if there isn't some kind of insect here, perhaps, waiting for another insect to eat. Isn't that lovely? It's the small things, you know. It's always the little details in life that make things right. I tricked Xongile. Did you see that, Xongile? All right, let's go. I'm actually not sure what species this is, unless it's been chopped off at the top. Yes, I think it has. I think it's a Setaria species. Very good. On we go, Xongile. There's a butterfly stop. Turn to your right-hand side very slowly, Xongile, and you will see a butterfly. Do you see it? It was settled, I promise. I know that following a butterfly is Xongile's worst nightmare. It's any cameraman's worst nightmare. Have you got it there?
Well, it's gone now.
It was one of the brown-veined, I think it's a brown-veined white. I've spotted the, can you see where it went? It went onto that thicket just the other side of the track.
I was filming another one.
You were filming another one. Was it white? Right, well, we'll pretend that was also a brown-veined white then. There are lots of butterflies here, actually, and they too like those WildEarthTV plants very much. I was just looking through some of my footage from the year. There it is. I was looking through some of my footage from the year, and I had a wonderful time one morning on foot. They're all over here with butterflies on WildEarthTV plants. Have you got one there? There we are. That is the brown-veined white, as far as I can tell. Now, there's a little pan up ahead here, so let's see if we can't find a tortoise, maybe a frog, maybe a terrapin, and maybe even some tracks of something, well, slightly larger. These are the kinds of pans, of course, where the buffalo like to lie when it's very hot and very dry, but there's so many of them around at the moment that, well, we can approach these pans with relative safety. Right, Xongile, you're going to have to turn around, otherwise you're going to sit on a red thorn tree, and that will hurt you deeply. You'll have to go to hospital again. I'll probably have to drive you, and you know how resentful I was the first time. Right, what's happening? I am not going to do what Evia did, and that is to throw myself into the pan. I feel it's a little early on, and, well, you know, the amount of disease going on with TB and TV coming up. Well, you don't want to get a disease now. There's a lovely red dragonfly, which I'm not going to ask Xongile to try and film. It's changing direction at 100 miles an hour. Not much has come around here to have a drink. Let me just move through this area. Oh, there are some tortoise tracks. These are quite interesting, or probably terrapin tracks. Come and have a look here, Xongile. Well, you might actually be able to see them from there. Can you see that? Those are terrapin tracks, everybody. And they've walked along the side here, and I suspect they saw us coming, and they're probably lurking under the surface here somewhere. The marsh terrapin This is the one that lives in much less permanent water bodies. Ugh, it does look a bit, well, soupy. Okay, that's the only other thing I can see through here. Yes, not much else really. Now just remember, hashtag Safari Live. We're as live as Jamie and Taylor are, so we can talk to you at any stage. Genre, do you think I'll make it across this cavernous leap? You hope not, he says. You see, he's a nasty fellow. I made it, Genre. Such is my incredible athleticism. Alright, carry on then. Let's go. Let's have a quick look at this jackalberry tree over here. Now this is a very young jackal. It is a young jackalberry. It's mangled by elephants. And this is what a new leaf looks like, of course. Bright red. Now in most parts of the world, of course, you'd associate a new leaf with green. You wouldn't associate it with red. This would be a colour of autumn. But the young leaves on many of the trees out here, because they're the most nutritious, are filled with the most tannin. And this, I think, will be very bitter. Yes. It's really horrible. It's dried my mouth out now. So it's quite difficult to talk. Comes on, right? Let's go this way. Right, our plan from here is to go down towards a pan, and maybe we will find some kind of a elephant a little bit later. Right, Jinlin. Rondre stood on a thorn, everybody. He's like, are you alright? Luckily it wasn't the same iron nail that he did the other day. Jinlin, you want to know if the fruit of the combretum tree is edible? Jinlin, it is not. In fact, many of them are in fact toxic. Not to the point that they'd probably kill us, but they're not very good for us at all. And so no, we don't eat the fruits. You can make tea of... I've just been arrested here by some buffalo tracks. They're not very fresh, but they are buffalo tracks. So let's have a quick look here. You can make a tea out of the russet bush willow's fruit. It tastes, well, it doesn't taste like anything really. Just colours the water. That is a buffalo bull that's come down through here. As I suspected, he probably looked at, lay down in that pond for a while and then wandered off. So we'll just walk a little bit easier through here. We might check the wind. Oh, that's not good. Let's try that again. It's interesting. There's a sort of northeasterly breeze sort of blowing off that way, and that's unusual. Normally the southeaster is the sort of perennial breeze that comes through here. Right, let's carry on. Chandri, don't fall over this Acacia robusta tree. Now let's quickly show Lynn another obvious one. Here we go. Here's a really nice tree to show you, Lynn. It's just over here. It's this one. And many of you, of course, will have heard of this tree. This is the magic guarri. And the magic guarri is easily identifiable by its wavy leaves. You can see the waves on the leaves there. It too has got a sort of greyish bark, a little bit like the russet, or the, what was it, the variable bush willow that we looked at. There we go. But it's a different sort of, there's a different kind of texture to it. And you'd never mistake the two if you saw them sitting next to each other, Lynn. You really need to get down on foot into an area like this to really understand what's going on with the trees. Now, I did say that it was tomorrow night at 10 p.m. It isn't, of course. It is tonight for where you are in the United States. Sunday night, the very first day of 2017, is TV. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Same time we would be starting the normal dawn safari. Right. Taylor is still looking for the Anderson male on Arathusa. Let's go and find out how that search is going.
Sadly, we have given up our search for the Anderson male leopard, and we are heading back towards Djuma now, as we can't seem to find him. So possibly he's already crossed out of the property. Like I said, something like a common duiker is not a very big meal for such a large leopard. So he could have easily snacked on that through most of the morning. Also, we don't know how long he'd been there for. Maybe he'd already eaten half of it and he just had a sort of half to go. And, well, he doesn't seem to hang around for too long. And off he has disappeared. But if we get any word that they pick up on him, of course, we'll try our chances again, maybe a bit later. But I think what we're going to go and do is head back towards Djuma now and go and follow up on those lions. But we're going to go the scenic way around, checking a couple of watering holes, as I think it'll be a good idea. Maybe we get lucky enough to, of course, spot the elephants that I was talking about earlier. Maybe they come towards the dam cam. Wouldn't that be really, really nice? And I apologize, I'm not looking towards the camera very much right now. It's just because the sun is right above the camera, and every time I look towards it, it blinds me. And then, VM, you wouldn't want me to drive into this ditch, would you? VM says no. I'm just going to close. You won't believe it. Let me see if I can push my hat down a little bit. You might hear a funny noise. But now I'm worried you won't be able to see my... No, that doesn't work. That still blinds me. Right, but we shall carry on. We're going to try and get back across to Djuma as quick as we can. It's very quiet on Arathusa. We didn't even see one impala, not even one animal yet. Oh, I lie, we saw a buffalo off into the distance in some thick vegetation, but the gremlins were hot. Well, they were hot on our heels, chasing after us with thorn trees and all sorts of things, and they wouldn't let us have a look at it, which is very rude of them. But we'll go back to Djuma, like I said, where, of course, the gremlins seem to be fewer. Go very carefully through here. It's a big... Whoa, hold on, Vim. So what's happened now with all the rain that we've had, and I think Arathusa could have had a bit more heavy rain with us, and the soil's very different. And unfortunately, that road seemed to have caused a bit of a river system, and it created this massive big rut down the middle of the road. That's what we don't want, and that's why we prefer to have these longer soaking rains, because then it doesn't do too much damage, of course, to the ground and wash away all the topsoil. Now, Jason, you were wondering if we're going to have, I don't know if I heard correct, superstitious or super, I don't actually know which word I heard there. Sorry, it's super special, there we go. Super special sightings because it's 2017. I hope so. I really do hope so. Like I said, for me personally, it would have been amazing to have seen the Anderson male leopard, seeing as though I have never seen him. That would have been a great way to start. However, I will absolutely settle for any elephants doing anything. But if I could just put out a request, maybe I'm going to have to shout it out though. I would like to see elephants swimming in some water, please. They've got really good hearing, so maybe they heard me. But we're almost at Djuma now, so we're going to go and check some pans. Let's go back across to James, who's got a special little butterfly to show you.
This is very special. It's a citrus swallowtail, and it's feeding on what looks like wild jasmine, but isn't. It's gone off to the right there, Xongile. Here it comes. It might even sit on your head. I didn't. To the left. There it comes. It's not wild jasmine, everyone. In fact, it's that clerodendron. No, it's not that either. I'll have a look at it just now. But let's just see if the butterfly won't go back to the white flower. Oh, straight over the top of my head. Here he goes. Come on. I tried to take a picture of it, everyone, but on account of the fact that I'm the slowest photographer on planet Earth, I failed to get it. Here it comes again. And I think it's coming back. It's just over Xongile's head now. I don't want to move, and of course for Xongile to try and track that, it's impossible. No, it seems to have gone. So let's go and have a look at the flower itself. Is it back? You got it?
You're in the way.
I'm in the way. Okay, I can see it. You got it there.
Yep.
Now what it's doing is sticking a long proboscis down into the depths of the plant and sucking out nectar. Isn't that gorgeous? This is a spectacular sighting, everyone. It really is quite stunning. Oh, wow. So the citrus swallowtail, not to be confused with the emperor swallowtail, which has these sort of very similar coloration. But it's got these clubs that come down off the hind wing. Oh my goodness, it's wonderful. Are you getting this? I know it's very difficult for you. It's probably not quite as magnificent for you guys as it is for me, because it's impossible to track a butterfly like that. Isn't that fantastic? Okay, let's have a quick look at the flower. Oh, look at this thing. You see it, Jandre? Mm-hmm. It's a bug of some sort. You keep filming that. I'm going to go around the other side of it. And Judy H., I hope you're watching. I've forgotten what this flower is. I did know at one stage. This is I think it may be one of those assassin bugs, you know. Probably picking up some kind of toxin. But it's got those bizarre clubbed antennae. You see that? There's a sort of club. Not all the way along the antenna, sort of halfway along. It's the abdomen that's the best colour. It's that kind of creamish cream, I suppose, with red. So definitely toxic. Definitely not something that you want to be attacking if you happen to be a predator. That's the aposomatic coloration, same as we had on that grasshopper earlier on. Yeah, I think it is an assassin bug. I've never seen one like this before, though. There it is. Hassan, you say this is an amazing colour scheme. It is an absolutely astounding colour scheme. It's going to land on you, Jandre. No, here it comes, back again. Same knobthorn tree. Nope. There we are. Now it's on a tamburti tree. Oh, that really is very, very beautiful. And all around us, really, it's the kind of late afternoon sounds of the bush. The first day of 2017 has brought us the most spectacular afternoon. One or two green-backed bleating warblers in the background. The ubiquitous woodland kingfisher, the ring-necked doves. Go away, bird. As Rexon wanders down the drainage line. And it is a very satisfying start to the year, wouldn't you say, Jandre? Yes, he's nodding. Of course, he can't shake himself too vociferously, because then, of course, your picture will make you seasick. That is gorgeous. I'm just going to try and stand up. This is called a two-shot, everybody. Normally it's done with elephants and buffalo, not always assassin bugs. I'd quite like to get a two-shot of all of you with the assassin bug, but I'm not going to, because it's illegal to take photographs while live. That is just, I have nothing else to say about it other than to marvel. I'm just marvelling at its magnificence. I don't know anything else about it. Safe to say that I think it must be, for an assassin bug, it's got to pick up various chemical compounds in order to manufacture its poison that it spits at things. Don't spit at me. Absolutely, our beard, you say the bright colours applies to other bugs that say do not eat. Not only bugs, birds, no, not birds, frogs, for example. Black and red and orange frogs are not edible. So bugs, caterpillars, beetles, amphibians, you name it. If it's black and orange and yellow, don't eat it. Spiders as well, of course, the golden orbweb spider, a classic example of that. Good. Now, let's have a look at the flower again before something else exciting comes to here. And as far as I remember, these things don't smell at all. Oh, you know what? No, they don't smell. It looks a little bit like Meirua parvifolia, but it isn't that. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's a Meirua, the dwarf bush cherry. Absolutely no smell at all to my nose, and that's unusual for a white flower. White flowers often smell a bit sort of sweet or jasmine-y. There you are. Beautiful. Gremlins General, you're wondering about those assassin bugs and why they should be named for Lee Harvey Oswald, if you'll excuse the rather poor reference. Well, they're named assassin bugs because they spit a substance that is burning. It's like an acid, and it'll burn your skin, depending on which species of assassin bug it is. And I'm not convinced that they use it to catch things, because clearly they eat vegetation. I think it's a defensive mechanism. So they will mix a chemical inside their bodies and then spit at whatever's attacking them, and that will hopefully ward them off. So that's why they're called assassin bugs. I think it's quite a nice name for a bug, don't you? Okay, let's carry on. Yeah, driving, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. You want to know what on earth the purpose of the club on the antenna is? I don't know. An antenna is an incredibly sophisticated piece of equipment, and I mean, they're used both to hear and smell, and in some cases even see. So it's a way of perceiving the world around you. So whatever that assassin bug has to do in its life, perhaps they help it, I suspect, with hearing or feeling or perceiving vibrations of sound in the air. I would imagine that's what they do. It could be for some kind of smell. Maybe it's only the males or maybe only the females that have them, and maybe they're used to pick up pheromones, but they look to me like almost sort of satellite dishes. So maybe they're picking up sound, or maybe they're picking up some kind of pheromone from the opposite sex of assassin bug. That would be my best guess. I don't think they're decorative in the same way that the peacock's tail is decorative. Righty, on we go. It's a little bit thick through here. Ooh, hang on, sorry about that. Right. Jamie seems to have lost the object of her affection. Let's go and find out why and what she's going to do about it.
I think we've just refound the object of our affections. I think they're just over here. The wonderful news is that when we last saw Karula, she was sort of casting about looking for something. And I thought she might be looking for her kill, but she wasn't. She was looking for Xongile. And after she realized that Xongile wasn't in that area, then she moved. Can we do this, Dave? I suppose we can. She moved a little bit further to the north to where Xongile was, and she found her. Sure, they're right in this thick stuff. I can't see anything. I could have come through here, Dave. It would have been very easy. Very useful crossing. No, I definitely can't see anything. She is somewhere in here. You got her? Oh, I thought you said you got her. Right, everybody, let us peer into the impenetrable vegetation to try and see if we can't spot her. Spot the spots. Somewhere deep inside there. Oh, I think Rebecca spotted them before we did. There we go. Well done, Rebecca, in final control. How's that, Dave? There we go. There's the little mister. Oh, they're right here. They're so much closer than I realized. Sorry, I've got to take my foot off the brake, so it's not Dave at all bumping around like that. It's me trying to secure our vehicle on this rather interesting incline. So all three leopards together once again. Xongile, Mom, and Hosana reunited. I was hoping that Karula was going to take them towards an impala kill. And the reason, of course, I was hoping that was, first of all, because I'm sure they could do with a good meal, but second of all, because it would have meant that she would still be here for the television show tomorrow. But we are starting the first of our 8-week series tomorrow in the States on Nat.Geo Wild, and that will be at 10 p.m. Eastern Time for those of you that want to watch us there. But never fear, those of you who are not in the States, it's today. It is today for those of you in the States. It will be today at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, I'm going to go forward just a fraction, Dave. We could actually end up tumbling down a hill, but let's try it. So exciting. Can't wait for the rest of the world to get to know these leopards. How's that? Okay, well, walk. Sorry. Down a little bit. There we go. Hello. There's Xongile, Karula, and Hosana, all gathered together once again. Here comes little Hosana, curious as always. Now, this is the wonderful thing about leopards, is that on a blistering hot day like today, you'd expect them to be rather flat and not really interested in doing all that much. But they don't read the textbooks, and even though it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit today, it's even hotter in the sun. They are still moving about, particularly this little boy here. I think he's quite hungry. I suppose that makes total sense. He is a rapidly growing boy. He's now almost twice the size of his sister. I mean, the difference when you see them next to each other is astounding. Oh, okay, yes. You're going to lie down there, mister. Here we go. Hello, little beautiful girl, sitting at the bottom there. This is so special. I can't wait. I really, really hope that for the first of our TV series we have Karula and her cubs. It'd be so special. Elana, who is 13 years old and one of our regular viewers, always lovely to hear your name. You wanted to know, hissing happening. You wanted to know when Xongile is fully independent, if she ever finds herself in trouble, will Karula help her? No, unfortunately, probably not. So whilst she won't attack Xongile if she encounters, or she's less likely to attack Xongile if she encounters her in her territory, she's not going to be particularly tolerant of her. She'll growl at her. But that bond is essentially not severed completely, but it is essentially done and dusted. Karula at that stage will probably either be pregnant or she will have her next set of cubs by the time Xongile is fully independent. So that bond is almost completely broken, and Karula's not going to risk her life trying to save her. Having said that, again, leopards don't read the textbook, and sometimes they do the strangest things. So who knows? I could be telling you that no, she probably won't, and that's most likely. Hello. Hello, little one. You are so tiny now compared to your brother. Hello, little girl. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right, little one. Cool. I'm just going to wait for her to get a little bit further away before I start my vehicle. And then we'll move backwards. So yes, animals don't read the textbooks. I don't think it's likely that Karula would risk her life for her cub once she's fully grown and independent, but you just never know. She could do something that could prove us completely wrong. I mean, that sighting with Shanae that Shanae posted Shanae's from Nkoro, for our new viewers who are unfamiliar with her. and she posted the most incredible sighting of an adult male leopard, a female leopard and her young cub, and it was the most fascinating interaction and completely beyond the realms of what we know or understand. So while I negotiate my way out of what is a very tricky patch, let's head back over to Taylor, who's back on Djuma.
You are back with us now, and we're actually quite close to where the Nkuhumas were. It seems as though they're still just in that same drainage system that we had them, well, that they've been in for the last couple of days. But also, we have Abel from Jacana has picked up on some male leopard tracks. Sorry. I'm trying to work out how I can look back at you all without blinding myself completely. The sun is particularly strong this afternoon. It's making my eyes water. Now, we're not sure which leopard it could be, but the leopard tracks come all the way from Buffelshoek, go onto Hippo Pools Road, and then they go towards Buffelshoek Dam. And I know for a fact that Tingana walked that exact route the other afternoon, where we found him sleeping. Well, Ephraim found him sleeping just to the east of Buffelshoek Dam in the drainage system, and he got up and he walked straight along Hippo Pools Road and then cut straight into Buffelshoek. So we know that that's where he's got his territory. So, but they're coming west. So maybe he's coming back on to do another search. So we're just having a look here. We might pop past the Nkuhumas and have a very quick look at them, but I suspect that they will be fast asleep on a hot day like today. We can always go back later, but I would really like to try and follow up on those male leopard tracks. So we're going to give Abel a hand in a couple of moments. You just have to bear with us just for a moment, as we're almost at the lions, probably a couple of 100 meters, not too far along now, but no elephants yet, which is very sad. Still looking for those elephants, but maybe we'll find them here in some of these drainage lines. Perhaps they were feeding there today, trying to keep out of the hot sun. Maybe they'll go for a drink a bit later. Don't fly, don't fly. And of course it flies. Hi, Hornbill. Beautiful big yellow-billed hornbill. And I think it was eating some termites as we spotted it. Okay, we're going to very quickly go back across to Jamie.
Might get blocked. While Taylor battles the gremlins off the signal on her vehicle, we unfortunately find ourselves in the sort of the third position, and that's because we've just had the best spot from the start of the sunset safari in terms of watching the leopards. Hey, the best spot. Ha 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 ha. I'm full of puns in 2017, but I'm just going to let the other vehicles go ahead of me so that their guests have a chance to see them, because by the time that they arrived, the leopards had disappeared into some very dense vegetation, so they didn't have a good chance to see them. So I'm just letting Ephraim and Aubrey go ahead of me, and we will catch up. Never fear, we're going to spend as long as possible. It doesn't sound like anybody else is interested in making their way here just yet. We will stick with them. I see you, spotted cat. I wish you'd been slightly further forward. We could have had some shade. Sorry, Dave. Can you see her there? Forward a little. Try that. There, I can just see spots through the... Hold on. Let's go forward. Oh dear. Sorry everybody, you'll just have to wait for a view of the leopards. We can't do anything now. You'll just have to sit patiently and wait for the opportunity to present itself. Let's just let the other vehicles have a good view of them first. You can hear the squirrel frantically shouting off in the distance. He's just spotted the leopard, and in fact the squirrel is what alerted us to Karula's presence this afternoon, at the very start of our sunset safari, or just before the start actually of our sunset safari. Okay. What to do? Let me try. I can't go in there, unfortunately. It is a Tamboti thicket. Da-da-dum. I can't see them anymore. Oh, there I can. Got her. There we go. And I can actually see a little leopard head behind her as well. I can see 2 leopards. There we go. Karula and Xongile, and one very angry squirrel. All panting frantically in the heat. And Mind Warp, you wanted to know what the contact calls between Hosana and Xongile might sound like, if indeed they have any. And the truth is they don't really, I've never seen leopard siblings contact calling to each other, so I'm not entirely sure that they ever do, but if they did ever contact call to each other, it would probably be very similar to the one that they use with their mum. So that almost croaking type, ow, doesn't sound anything like that, does it, Dave? Ow, 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 ow. Is that better? That's better. Dave says that's better. Oh, look, it's got something. What is that? Oh dear, he's just disappeared into the drainage. I don't know what it was there that they caught. I wonder if that's why Karula, maybe she really did go and fetch them and come back to where she'd left a kill. There's another leopard up against the base of that big tree, Dave, but I don't know if you can see her. Oh, you got her there. There on the right, there's a leopard there. Somewhere in there. There's a leopard. That is some spots in your top left screen, top left corner of your screen. There we go. There's a leopard. We're full of spotting puns today, Dave. I'm not sure what, I don't even know which leopard that was. I thought it was Hosana that went with something in his mouth. It looked like it might actually have been a baby warthog that he had. So perhaps this is why Karula came to fetch her cubs. Perhaps she did have a kill lined up for them. It just was something quite small, not an adult impala. Phew. It is very warm and very sweaty out here. I'm seeing the sun once again. Which one's this now? Xongile? I think so too. It's getting quite tricky to tell them apart at this distance and at this size, and in this vegetation. Oh no, she's slinking into a difficult spot. Now they're right in a thicket known as a tambueti thicket. It's actually a combination of tambuetis and jackalberries. Remember, James ate a jackalberry earlier and said it was revolting, and that's because it's full of tannins, so much like the silver cluster leaves. But tambuetis and jackalberries are very, very important ecologically. In other words, we absolutely cannot drive over them in order to get into the sighting. It does severe damage to the ecosystem in general. Now, we can't drive in too much further to get a view of these leopards, so we might have to do some... Hold on, we might not have to worry. Now, I don't know what little Hosana disappeared with into that drainage line, but he's obviously snatched it away from the attentions of his sister. Hi, Emily, who is 8 years old. Emily, I'm so glad that you sent through a question. Now, Emily, you want to know what the difference is between a leopard and a cheetah. And that is a very good question indeed, Emily, because it's something that an animal that many, many people get confused. Now, ideally, we'd be looking at a leopard when we talk about this, so luckily we've still got this one. Emily, look quickly at the spots of this leopard. Do you see how they don't... Oh, bye. When you look at the spots of a leopard, you'll see that they aren't solid, particularly on the back and on the sides of the leopard. They almost form like a rosette, like a circle. There you go, you've got a chance to view. See how it looks like a lot of different dots making up one spot? In cheetah, that's just solid spots. A cheetah is also skinnier, slightly taller but thinner, like a long distance runner, which is what, of course, it's very good at sprinting. So it's tall and skinny, not like a long distance runner, sorry, like a sprinter. Tall and skinny with non-retractable claws, so you can actually see the claws on a cheetah. A leopard is slightly shorter but stockier, like a muscly, like a bodybuilder or an athlete or a long jumper or something like that. Very, very strong and stocky animal. And leopards are very good at jumping and fast bursts of speed and then climbing trees. Cheetah, of course, do those runs where they can run faster than any other single land mammal out here. Sure, Dave, they've picked the trickiest area in the world. She's gone, she's gone back in to here now. And as I said, we can't drive over any jackalberries or tamburtis, so we might have to wait our turn for the view of the leopards from the other side. And just wait for Ephraim and Aubrey to have a look. We might actually be better served going to the other side of this drainage system, this river system. It's all fun and games trying to figure out exactly where they've gone. They've gone right in here. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they're going to be here tomorrow. Please be here tomorrow. No sign of them. Okay, what do we think, Dave? Should we go around the other side? I'm not sure. I think we could just be just as... It is just a little bit tricky in here. I'm going to try go around and just see. This is a tricky one. Driving, you've asked a question about Karula's spot patterns, and please stick around. I want to answer it, but I want to do it when we can see Karula. It will make it a lot easier to be able to show you, when we can see her face, how we go about counting the spot patterns on her left. And hopefully we can try and get a view of her from that side, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. And then we can discuss while we look at her. It'll be much better. So hold on, hold that thought, driving. I know you're asking about leopards, about Karula's spot patterns. Hold that thought. We're going to try for a view of her, and then hopefully we'll be able to answer in that way. It'll be a lot more instructive. Okay. Let us see what we can do. Perhaps we'll have luck if we go this way. Okay, down into the dip we go. I'm desperate as well to see what it is that she's killed. Alright, while we attempt to find Karula and where she's gone with her two cubs, let's go over to James, who's doing his best demonstration of leopard tree climbing skills.
Right, everybody, we're standing here on a tree, just like Karula might be. Anyway, they're not too far from where we are standing now. Now, I'm not sure which direction Jamie's coming, but we're probably going to veer off down towards the Mlwamati drainage over there, and then we'll start making our way gently back towards camp. Now, I haven't managed to find anything else of great note, but I do want to ask Rexon's help here, because I'm quite keen to try... Oh, hang on, before we talk about that, Jandri, are you able to come over here? There's a small spider hunting wasp that is now... it's hiding, sorry. It was just down in that little pile of sticks there. Can you see them?
Yeah.
You can see the sticks, presumably.
There's many sticks.
There are many sticks. The wasp is there. Anyway, never mind the wasp. I wanted to try and find some more Xongile to eat, and I think I've misidentified the plant, and so I'm just going to quickly check with Rexon. And if you're wondering if we're not being attacked by some bees at the moment, perhaps a huge swarm of sort of bumblebees, it's the drone. We were hoping to do a drone shot here, but we've got an issue with it, so we're not going to at the moment. Now, this is not the right plant. Rex? She in English? Oh, shkanyana, yeah, okay, shikanyana. I don't know what that means, and I know that it's not edible. But what it is used for, everybody, is if you have a very bad cold, pneumonia, apparently, or tuberculosis, you crush it up like this until it forms a very greasy paste. You see that, Andre? Now, I'm going to warn you, what I'm going to say next is not for the sensitive of stomach. This is then administered, how to put this gently, this is administered, well, in much the same way that a suppository would be administered. And that apparently will cure you of pneumonia. I don't think that I'd go with this immediately if I thought I had pneumonia. I think I'd probably go to a doctor first before I came and picked some shiganyanganya, ground it into a sort of gel-like paste and sat on it. I don't think I would do that. Anyway, that's what that plant is, and you can see it growing all over here, so if there are lots of people with pneumonia around, well, they've got enough to find for them to help. Come with me, Gendry. I've lost my stick. Hello, Jilly. You say that wild garlic apparently is good for mange, and do we get it here, and do we eat it? I don't think we get a wild garlic, really. Do we? Do you know of a wild garlic, Gendry? I don't think we get one here. I know of a South African wild garlic, but I've never seen it out here, and perhaps we should plant a field of it for the lions, because even those Nkuhuma cubs, the new ones, not the new ones, the old ones, they seem to have an almost reoccurrence of the disease, which I think is very strange indeed. I'm just picking up my stick. Oh dear, there goes my camera. Right, while I fix my camera that I've just thrown on the floor, Taylor has indeed got some mange-riddled cats as we speak.
Sadly, we do have some mangy cats that, well, I think they could use a dose of wild garlic. So, James, if you wouldn't mind foraging for some, and maybe we can throw it out to the lions. Of course, we would never do that. And I wonder if these cats would eat something like wild garlic if they came across it. It would definitely help with the smell that is coming off of these cats at the moment. They are very, very stinky. There's the most bizarre smell around the Nkuhumas today. And Jamie mentioned it this morning as well. It smells like fish. I don't know if it's the carcass that smells like that or what on earth has happened here, but it is not very pleasant, unfortunately. But you can see that the Nkuhumas are fast asleep, as they would be on a hot, sunny summer's day. But they don't look too hot. There's not a huge amount of panting going on. And I suppose that's also because even though their bellies are full, they're not as distended as they were a couple of days ago. So I'm sure that buffalo carcass must be almost done. But I don't even know if they've pulled it out of the drainage line. It was very, very difficult to try and, of course, have a look at it. Because the day before, they'd dragged it right into a very hard area to have a look at. But I don't think that there's too much left. Now, there's 3 adult lionesses here, and all the cubs are laying about in between them. So I suspect that the youngest lioness and Amber Eyes and Mr. Informal are just off into the distance somewhere, probably lying just a little bit away. And we see that quite often with Amber Eyes and the youngest lioness. They seem to enjoy each other's company quite a bit, even though they love the rest of the lionesses and they all have strong bonds between each other. It's like you always have a favorite. They probably just maybe have a better connection than the others. Maybe the common denominator with the 2 of them is that they don't have cubs. And the other 3 lionesses, the ones we're looking at, of course, have had lots of little cubs. But fast asleep. I reckon that lioness is probably going to move as her head is now in the sun. You can see as it starts to drop a little bit further down towards the horizon, the sun is starting to creep in, so she might shuffle. So we might get a bit of excitement, a little bit of movement. But remember, this is of course a live safari, so we'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions about these gorgeous cats, you're welcome to #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can send us an email, questions@wildearth.tv. Like I said, myself, James and Jamie love to have chats with you, so please send on some questions. There's a big stretch. Oh, I'm just fiddling with my game drive comms, so I make sure I'm not missing out on anything. There's a lot of chattering going on today, and hopefully means that there's something exciting out and about. There we go, a couple of the cubs rolling around, turning themselves over now. But no, not for too long though, just a quick scratch. Maybe a fly was biting it or an ant, and then of course back to sleep again. We probably won't stay with these cats for too long, because I suspect that we're going to sit and watch sleeping cats for the next hour at least. We might go and have a scratch and, like I said, check some of the big dams and have a look and see if there's any buffalo wallowing away in them, or perhaps a herd of elephants coming down to drink. And then we will come back a little bit later. Well, as we sit here, and I said that they were lucky they were feasting on a buffalo. Dave, you were wondering that in desperate times, will these lions catch smaller prey? Hello, girl. Oh, I love it when they do that. Will they catch smaller prey such as squirrels and hares and all those things along that line? Of course they will. They will indeed. Especially these younger cubs as they start to learn. I'm waiting until we see them catch a francolin and we just see a ball of feathers in the air. That'll be quite exciting, because we've seen a couple of francolins and spurfowls take some risks and come quite close to the pride as they're lying about, either to, feast on the maggots that we often see on the carcasses, or even, just, living dangerously, keeping life interesting. Maybe it's what do you call those things now, VM? Initiation. There we go. Maybe it's initiation of some sort of a francolins that we don't know about, to walk past the lions. Now, I wouldn't have been too concerned 2 months ago, because the cubs were very clumsy and didn't quite know what they're doing, but now they are well established. They've got good muscle tone. They have practiced balancing on all the trees, and their stalking technique has gotten much better. So if I were a francolin, I'd be very careful. And of course, an adult will go after anything. I've seen lots of footage of lions actually going for vultures. Can you believe that? At watering holes or even at carcasses. So even a vulture has to be careful, and they will feast on them if they are desperate. And I've forgotten which documentary, I can't remember which documentary it was, but it was probably a documentary taken about 10 years ago, but it was about this male lion that was almost starving to death, and he went after a sleeping hyena. He snuck up to a hyena that was just having a nap and actually took it down and feasted upon it, which is unusual. Now, with all the rain that we've had, you've obviously spotted it with all the lovely lush green vegetation that is around. Unfortunately, it's of course increased the tick population. So during the summer months, and especially once you've had a bit of rain, it's not uncommon to see a couple more ticks on the lions. Like everything else, the populations, the rain sort of induce the mating rituals of the various different animals. And of course, when that comes about, you get lots and lots of, little animals, including the ticks. And I wonder if James is actually, as he's been walking through some of this longer grass, if he's actually picked up any ticks or walked through a tick nest. And I hope he doesn't, because it's never fun to try and get all the little ticks off of your body. Now, the little lion whose head is hidden by the log, that's the little floppy-eared girl. And every now and then she rolls over, and you can see how her belly is just completely missing hair. You can see a little bit. And I'm very concerned about her, because it doesn't seem to be getting better just yet. And I just hope that she is going to be able to overcome this. She is a fighter, as you've all said before, and we've witnessed it. She is indeed a fighter, but look how tattered her ears are. But not so tattered that her ear still flops. She's sort of lost that now. As soon as the swelling went down, it went back to its normal self again. And I thought that was quite a cute feature that she had. And it's again, when identifying different animals, that's a unique feature that little lioness has. And it's something that you would have been able to identify her by. But fast asleep. Just twitching their ears. And that seems to be all that's going on out here this afternoon with the Nkuhumas. You can see all their ears look a little bit tattered. Now that could be a combination from the ticks or even just the flies that are about, and they will bite. There's lots of biting flies at the moment. Sometimes you see it with your dogs, how their ears start to bleed, and of course you know that that's the flies. Now Zaz, you were wondering, why don't we see as many male lions in a coalition as we see female lions in a pride? And Zaz, that's just because the females are more social than the males. Obviously it's a matriarchal system that you have within a pride, and then of course the coalition of males, they come and go. That will change a number of different times. It depends of course on how long that pride will stay together. And normally you'll only see one male lion. Up here coalitions are quite common though in the Sabi Sand, and the biggest coalition I think was the Mapohos, the 6 male lions. And then, of course, the Birminghams were 5-2. But those are exceptional coalitions. Even though we see it up here quite often, it's actually not that common to see. Like I said, normally it's just 1 male, maybe 2 males. But we're very, very spoiled to see such large coalitions of lions in the Sabi Sand. We're very, very lucky. But then, as you've seen with the Birmingham boys now, is that it has changed. They've completely split up, but they still greet each other when they see each other. But they've sort of spread themselves out to sort of cover a bigger territory, I suppose. And I think it was quite clever of them. The only thing that, of course, you need to worry about is that if all of a sudden 4 young male lions came in and it was just Mr. Mfumo with the Nkuhuma Pride, he would not stand a chance facing them all on his own. When his brothers have gone off looking after the Torchwood Pride, maybe just, popping past the Styx Pride or any of the other lions. Oh, there we go. He can see her belly. So then they, of course, that's of course the negative side of what the Birminghams have done, how they have split up now. They don't have the strength in numbers. But that hair is completely gone. There are a couple of ticks you can see on her belly. And she should be able to groom herself, so I wonder if she's just not feeling tired and weak. That can't be very nice. She looks so itchy. Oh, I'm so sorry, my girl. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that the rain will help her immunity push through. Like I said, it's not the first time she's pushed through something. She's definitely a fighter. Oh, look at her little tail as well. Now looking at having a closer inspection of these ticks. Donna, you were wondering, do you get paralysis, or do we get paralysis ticks down here like you get in Australia? That's a good question. I'm not sure. One of the main diseases that are brought about here by ticks, and particularly by the bond tick, is I was going to say bilharzia for a second, but it's not bilharzia. I was talking about bilharzia the other day. Sorry about that. Biliary or tick bite fever. And that is caused by the ticks, and that can attack their liver, which is not good. It makes you feel exceptionally lethargic. but I don't know if it causes paralysis. When we get it as humans, it's horrendous. You get a migraine, you feel a bit dizzy, so you almost get vertigo, you're nauseous, and you just feel absolutely exhausted. It feels like you haven't slept in about 6 weeks, and your energy is just completely drained from your body. But I don't know what the animals would feel. I don't know if they get similar symptoms. It's very difficult to try, because you can't just ask a lion, do you have a headache? You know, or are your paws sore? You know, we don't know any of these things. Everything we know about animals is all just speculation. And we just sort of try and put theories together. But the being out here in the wild is just incredible. And you learn this after you've been doing it for long enough, is that anything that all the various books say, there'll be a situation at one point where you come across an animal doing something completely different to what everybody else has said in the past. And that's it. You've just got to learn for yourself. Take every experience and remember it, or take a note and form your own opinions. Look at those little crusty feet from walking through all of the mud. They don't look like they've been really focusing on grooming too much, though. They're not the cleanest that we've seen them, especially the little cubs. They've either gotten lazy on grooming themselves, or mom has been neglecting them a little bit. Look at this one, all very scruffy. And it is very important that mom does groom them, because you can imagine, and you know how difficult it is to get a child to have a bath at night. You know, it's always a fight. Well, any bathing time with children is always an argument. And I suppose it's the same thing with the cats. We see them, the youngsters, resisting often when mom sort of grabs them by the scruff of the neck and pulls them closer and gives them a groom. They never look too impressed. But I think we're going to head away from these Nkuhumas now. We're going to go check a couple of dams where we've got a bit of light, and perhaps come back here a little bit later. But let's go back across to James again, who's walking around on foot, and I think he might have something with wings to show you.
I'm afraid what we were hoping to show you seems to have gone, but the slowest photographer in the universe managed to get a picture. It's very beautiful, Xongile. Can you see it there?
No.
Would you like me to zoom into it?
Tilt it down.
Tilt it down.
More.
More.
Yeah.
Zoom a bit, maybe. Yes? Ooh!
Yeah, no. The reflection's not working for me.
Shall we turn around like that? No?
Tilt it, so hold it up and tilt it down. Hold it up and tilt it down. Yeah.
There we are. It was a beautiful dragonfly, everybody. And unfortunately, it's gone, but it was sitting so beautifully. Anyway, let's scrap that idea. Well, shall we carry on? Let's carry on. Let's continue on our way. I'll keep my camera out in case we see it again. Righty, here we go. 1 year older Xongile. Who knows, 2017. Don't you find it amazing, and I said this 2 days ago, how astounded everybody is when the end of the year comes and they say, well, you know, I can't believe how fast this year's gone by. And then they say the same thing the year after. Nobody ever says that year went really slowly for me, unless you're 2 or 3 years old. And so I propose that humanity stop saying that, because I'm beginning to find it quite irritating. No?
Yeah, it's the theory of relativity. When you're one is everything.
It's the theory of relativity. The theory of relativity has got to do with the speed of light and its relationship to energy.
Some part of that in time. It's our perception of time.
Right, let's carry on and try and find something biological to show you. Judy H., so far I'm afraid you've disappointed me on this 1st of January. I don't know what that flower is yet. That is my fault, not yours, of course. We'll just have a quick look at this chloris grass, because it is so very beautiful. Do you see it shining in the light there, Xongile?
Get it backlit.
Oh, yes. Backlit. This is the feathered chloris. Chloris Guyana, if I'm not mistaken. Blowing in a gentle northeasterly breeze, a very strange wind to be blowing from here. But the sky is blue and the smell of summer is all around us. Would you like a stalk?
2, please.
You can't have 2. There are buffalo out here that like to eat these things. You want to know about poison ivy, and if we have it around here? We don't. There's no poison ivy. There are nettles, and nettles can cause irritation to the skin, and I've had them sort of attack me, if you like, and the skin produces water. It's amazing. It kind of leaks water. It's very strange. Anyway, sorry about the pixelation or the breakup of the picture there. It is because we are on foot in a slightly dodgy area, we think. Not a dodgy area. We're not in a dodgy area. Anyway, sorry about the breakup of the picture. So no poison ivy here. Yes, we do have nettles, but nothing that causes the same rashes and horrible things like you get with poison ivy. Also, I know you were discussing ticks and biliary and that sort of thing with, I think it was Jamie or Taylor, or it must have been Jamie or Taylor. I forget which one it was though. And interestingly, of course, we get tick bite fever, which is the human equivalent of biliary, and it's not anything like as bad as the Lyme disease you get from ticks in North America. And I think often people think of Africa as this disease-riddled, dangerous place. And yes, there are certain diseases that are very nasty, but there are others that are relatively harmless compared with some of the ones you get in North America. And certainly, if you go wandering around on foot in an area like Northern Europe, from Austria, I think, all the way across into northern Russia and down to the far east of Russia, if a tick bites you there, you'll get encephalitis. You won't get a mild headache and a flu-y feeling that'll be fixed with a couple of doxycyclines. You'll feel really, really rough and, could potentially kill you. So there are nasty bits and pieces all around the world that us humans have had to cope with over the millennia. That is all I have to say on that particular subject. Good. Now, I'm just confused by the reference. So I've been talking about ticks and tick bite fever, everyone, and Taylor thought I might have picked some up. I don't think I have. Have you, Xongile? No. No, well, if I was a tick, I'd be on your legs long before I'd be on mine, I've got to tell you that.
They don't like my legs.
They don't like your legs? Well, they don't really have much taste. Oh, they like the groin region. I see. I'd forgotten what it was like to walk with Xongile. Let's try and find something biological in here before Xongile says something else ridiculous. Right, come in here, Xongile. We're going to find something interesting, I can tell. Apparently we're going to go straight across to Jamie, and she is with a leopard that is having its tea.
And we are still with the magical little Hosana. We've managed finally, after much shuffling around, to get a view of him, and what did turn out to be his meal of a baby warthog. So it was indeed a baby warthog that was caught. I don't know who caught it, I don't know when it was caught, but he is having a really thorough snack. And a baby warthog is a fantastic meal for a little leopard, because the bones are soft, which means that he can chew through and crunch almost all of it, essentially not missing out on one little bit of nutrients from that kill. He's getting lots and lots of calcium from the soft bones. It is a really good time of year to be a leopard. I have to confess, for one heart-stopping moment, it was that when your brain doesn't quite catch up with itself or with what it's seeing. For 1 second, when he lifted it up, it looked like a hyena cub, like a few-day-old hyena cub. And I did a really serious double take. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's not, though. It is a baby warthog. That definitely would have been a surprise. First of all, that we even had baby hyenas on this property, and second of all, that they'd managed to catch one. So I assume somewhere in this massive river system that is in front of me, I assume that is where Karula and Xongile are. They might even just be ever so slightly past where I can see.